welcome to another episode of In the Library of Graphic Literature with your host, Wallace Ryan.
Yeah, where is he? Oh, I lost my way. And Luna. So,
Today we have a special one because the art is amazing, and if you haven't checked the art out or this artist yet, you should. This is called Done by Richard Corben.
dun, 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 dun. Now this is one of my favorites. This actually first ran, or at least I first seen it, in Heavy Metal magazine in 1977.
Oh, really now?
And it was...
You're that old?
Yeah, I'm that old. And and it was colored at the time. Now it's basically being reproduced, the type of coloring he did. But back then he airbrushed a lot of this coloring, right? And it was pretty cool looking, actually, for his time. And it actually, the guy, I think, who was it? Jose Villa. Oh, I can never isn't there. Villarrubia. He's done an amazing job of recreating what it looked in the original magazine, because this looks exactly how it did in the magazine.
Was it colored in the magazine?
Yeah. And he's reproduced it from the original artwork and all that, because I'm not sure how it was done originally, but
I love how psychedelic it is. Like, look at that.
Oh yeah.
It's like something you'd see in a trip.
It's very, well, I mean, Dan spends the entire thing running around buck naked himself. I mean, we're used to seeing, women naked in comics. This is the first time I could remember seeing, a man running around with it all hanging out there. Da-da-da-da. But it's one of my favorite comics of his.
Not even a loincloth?
No, not even a loincloth. But he comes from a different dimension and comes from Earth, and he ends up in this netherverse somewhere, and he's a big burly guy, and he's a hero, and this is part of, there was a heavy metal movie in the 80s, and this is one of the segments in it, which is pretty cool. It even kind of looks like it too. So one of my favorites. Now, in this theme of heavy metal, I actually put together a whole stack of books, collected editions of stuff that's appeared in heavy metal and that I happen to have in hardcover form. Yay!
Wow.
Now,
so impressive.
it is very impressive, isn't it? So impressive. Very impressive. First is Arzak by Moebius.
Oh, yes.
I love his artwork. He and this was a this was a very different. I mean, we weren't used to this type of comics when we were kids, right?
Has a very steampunk aesthetic vibe.
Well, I would have been 16 years old, I think, when I first came across heavy metal. My friend Jerry Porter was the one who turned me on to it. We were used to Superman and Batman and all that type of stuff. So I mean, to see the stuff that's, psychedelic, a little bit of nudity sometimes thrown in with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is beautifully drawn artwork. He used to spend like upwards of a day just doing one page. Like doing one panel, sorry it was. That's what Jerry had told me, right? But absolutely stunning. And I actually had an earlier edition of this that was, it was a soft cover from heavy metal way back when, right?
Mm.
So this, and I managed to find this. Now this is a French edition, but it doesn't matter because there's no words in the comic anyway, right? Now next up, it's titled Major Fatale, but this is actually the Airtight Garage is the true name of it. Now I have a big oversized edition, but I picked this one because this is one of the oldest books in my collection. I bought it in the 80s down in New York City at Forbidden Planet.
And that's the oldest?
One of the oldest. There are a couple more that are older, but this is this is one that I had since then. This is the original one that I still have from back then. I have a few books here and there, but this is definitely one of the oldest, right? Mm-hmm. And this I found because the same guy, once again, Moebius, but in this one it's black and white artwork, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Now this is all in French, but it does matter because at the time I had read it in English, so I knew what it was all about. I just wanted to see the actual, have a nice edition of the artwork. And it was actually like the printing, like the blacks were really nice and solid. It was very nicely done, right? And once again, it would look very different.
They can't see.
Oh yeah, here we go. I'll show them one of the. This is some of the Moebius. This black and white artwork is just absolutely stunning. I mean, this guy knew pen and ink, right? And just the things like this. It's just like, who the heck comes up with stuff like this? Besides Moebius. But one of my all-time favorite artists, and it was because of heavy metal that we were introduced to him, and we still bought superhero comics, but we started to buy, and just a lot of people started to do more heavy metal style material too, right?
Yes.
So next up,
some video games tried but failed.
Yeah.
There might have been a couple of good ones. I can't remember their names though, like on older systems.
Ah, okay.
They were like heavy metal themed.
Yeah, there was and I never did oh, now this one is Starstruck, sorry.
The fate of the three... Oh, I've said that wrong. The fate of the three multiverses in your hands.
And this is by this guy, drawn by Mike Kaluta, who he's just an absolutely stunning artist. He's next to Barry Windsor Smith, one of my favorite, like, technically perfect artists in my mind, right? His artwork, like, every panel is a masterpiece. There for you. Every panel is beautifully rendered, right? And this appeared. Well, it started in heavy metal, and it did appear in a few other things too. Actually, I mean, look at that.
Oh, so much detail.
I know. He goes completely insane with it. Now he was famous for doing for doing the shadow. Ooh. Of course, and the shadow was just absolutely stunning piece of work. And there was another book too, I do believe, of this. But yeah, the detail. That's why I loved about Kaluta. Just the detail, everything was absolutely perfect. I mean, look at that, just beautifully drawn.
Yes, the characters really come to life in that.
Yeah, and he just had a style too. What am I just? He still does because he's still alive. Okay, now this only half this book appeared in the heavy metal. The first half, Idol, actually appeared in the comics section in the National Lampoon during the 70s.
My boy Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Oh, and Dave McLean.
See? Now check this out. I think
I said his name wrong. Dave McLean. Oh, yeah.
Now this, and I'll I'll point this towards the camera. This, I mean, in terms of pen and ink artwork. The thing is, the pen and ink artwork in this series is, and it went for, now these were always one page strips too, right? And just beautiful pen and ink. It's like some of the early 20th century pen and ink artists who were amazing. But then he when it comes to heavy metal, he does this one called I'm Age, which is the same guy now, but it's a slightly more abstract thing. It's still a incredible figure drawing, right? Which is really what it is. And being a model, I know that you can appreciate this, right? So it's just, for you art fans out there, this is an amazing book. I always loved Jeffrey Catherine Jones, as he was later known in life. Yeah, just absolutely beautiful drawing. And I mean, Jones had done some comic book stuff here and there through the years. He'd done a couple of Wonder Woman covers actually that were really cool, and he did a lot of horror comics that were really cool. Some, but amazing covers. He's absolutely amazing cover artist. Speaking of which, Vaz. Vaz has to be. I picked this one because it's one of the more disgusting of his things. Now, I guess in some ways this is one of the few episodes that really isn't for kids because there will be images and stuff that you see here.
I don't think any of your videos really are.
No.
Especially with me around.
yeah, especially with you. But this one now, Vaz, even when we were reading it, at 15 and 16, me and Jerry were just like, oh, the artwork is amazing, but the story is disgusting, right?
There's not a whole lot of dialogue.
No, Vaz really is like just
very visual.
Yeah, it's a wild romp from start to end, right?
Oh, it's your library.
Yeah, but I always like this artist, Philip Drouillet. Him and Moebius were and Corben were my favorites, right? Now, when this was originally printed, this is actually in blue and white. When you look at it, right? It was printed in black and white in the comic, right? But there's one scene that starts where I think right at the very start where he can't remember. I think it was in Vaz where basically I can't remember if it was this or not, but just to show you what this character was like, he comes to and he's in a spaceship and there's some kind of animal trying to have sex with his space. Although I think that might have been another one. Anyway.
Sure it's not the Adela penguins?
I'm pretty sure those little shaggers. But this one, absolutely lovely. You can throw it onto the stack there. Now this was one, of all the stuff that appeared in the heavy metal, this was actually one story that I never thought, or a series I thought would be reproduced. And when I seen it at first, it was just like, this can't be. And then I looked at it, and it was just like, oh my God.
The Green Hand
the Green
and the
Hand.
other stories.
Yeah, and this is Nicole Clevelou. I do believe she was one of the founding. I thought she was one of the founding people at heavy metal. But just amazing artwork. I loved her. Her stories are just really strange and very open them and very dreamlike, right? So when you can imagine I'm 15 reading this and I'm used to Superman and Batman, and I'm reading this stuff and it's just like, oh my God, this is starting to dramatize me already here, right?
It's like if realism had like different colors.
Yeah, I love the that's what got me to
very surreal.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just.
Oh, this is so cool. This is kind of like what my friend was talking about earlier. Like nature and humans becoming one. Well, like show the people. Show the people what they're getting here. But yeah, she has just this beautiful style to her and the coloring and all that. It just has this otherworldly move. Oh yeah, this was one of my favorites, the bird. Right? It just looks so depressed. Right? Very forlorn.
Yeah. This bird story was one of my favorite. And so I mean, for a kid like me who was used to superhero stories and all this, coming and seeing all this stuff from heavy metal, it was just like, wow, this. And it proved to me and my friend, we'd always believed that comics, and we were quite vociferous about it. It was just like comics are art and all that. And then once we see heavy metal, we're like, see, we told you. Now this is Enki Bilal.
The Nicopol's trilogy?
Yeah, and this guy I like just because absolutely beautiful art.
The Carnival of Immortals, The Woman Trapped, and Equator Cold.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And just beautifully drawn. And I put him up there with Moebius and some of the other ones, even though I would assume he has an audience, but really nice artwork.
Some Egyptian themes going on.
Oh yeah, very much so. Especially
vibes.
in this particular story, right? It's as a matter of fact, you see more of them appear like later on, right? and it's really this is the.
Oh, I love the color palette on that.
Oh yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Show.
Show the people.
Need that on a T-shirt.
I tell you, look. Yeah. But I mean, just amazing. I mean, and this was the other thing. I mean,
Right down the front.
we'd seen some cool art in North American comics, but seeing this, it was just like all the art was cool, right? And then of course there was nudity, swearing, and all kinds of other cool stuff thrown in just to make it all worthwhile, right? And this was the last but not least.
This one's huge.
Yeah. Now I'm pretty sure this ran. If not, as a matter of fact, I'm positive that this ran.
Is this the angel?
No, this is Barbarella. This is the.
Who's the angel?
I'm not sure. But this is the comic that was eventually adapted into
a jellyfish.
the famous movie.
Look, the giant jellyfish. They're talking to us. Or taking us to it.
But anyway, it was.
Of course, I would read it as talking to us.
But it was. It's very, very different. It was. No,
I didn't do that. It did it all by itself.
There's a lot of nudity in this, but there was also a lot of other stuff by Jean-Claude Forest in heavy metal. But this is the only one I had anyway. I was almost positive that that this had run in it, but the more I look at it, the more I'm not quite sure. Although I should have looked it up before I started the show. Hey, but. He did do stuff for heavy metal that was also very cool, right? Mm. Once again, like I said, this was the cool thing about heavy metal. I mean, they weren't superhero comics where basically people would spend most of the issue beating the crap out of each other, and then someone wins in the end, or of course the villain gets away and comes back to fight another day, right?
Oh.
But so yeah, it was amazing comics. It was just, as a matter of fact, I still had my issues 1 and 2, but I was missing a lot of my other ones, and I found this guy who had an almost complete collection. But I only wanted from 77 to 84 were the years I collected it. I gave up after that. And in a lot of ways, it had influenced the market so much in terms of really bizarre stuff. Marvel had started doing a magazine called Epic, which was more or less like a heavy metal ripoff, and everyone got into the game. So once everyone's in it, it kind of dilutes it. I mean, heavy metal is still being put out today, but it's not like it was back then. It was huge, big baby. So that's my take on heavy metal. It changed my life, you know. It changed me and Jerry's life. I mean, we wouldn't have been strange artists anyway, but it was able to focus all that strangeness right in the proper direction, right?
Channel the strange.
Channel the strange. Now, next week's show will be featuring God only knows what. Because I think I only have a couple of books so far, but as always, I'm sure I'll come up with something. And of course, then there's still me and Dennis's podcasts, which I hope more people would listen to because they're kind of fun. And there's a lot of, you know, and they're mature, rated M for mature, so I mean, check it out. That being said, guess that's enough for this week, isn't it?
I guess so.
Yep. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for having us over, and keep on reading comics. Yay! Oh, we're getting a hurricane in a couple of days too, aren't we?
Oh no!
Oh no! Wish us luck. Love you. Bye. And out.